What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash. Today you're joining me with my Tesla Model Y long-range rear-wheel drive. This is a 2025 with hardware 4, and we finally have FSD 14, and we're going for my first real test drive. Before we get started, I did want to mention my referral link is down below in the description and the pinned comment. If this video helps you with your Tesla purchasing decision, using my referral will actually give you 3 months of FSD or whatever Tesla's current promo is, and really helps out the channel if you do use that. So as I mentioned, we are in my 2025 Tesla Model Y long-range rear-wheel drive. I just installed FSD 14.1.3 last night, and we are putting it through its paces on my first drive with it. We just updated from 13.2.9, and we have not had a major FSD update in over a year at this point, basically. 13.2.6 or something like that is what we took delivery of this Model Y on last end of December, and it's been on that basically the whole year, and it's been fantastic. But now that 14 is out, I cannot wait to try it and show you guys. It now has new auto parking features, two new speed profiles, both Sloth and Mad Max. We took away the speed limit, which is a little bit interesting, and I'm curious to see how that works out. But we're going to be putting it through its paces with a couple different parking scenarios, and really just see how it does. So we're going to be doing some city driving, kind of more surface street type stuff. Not as concerned with interstate. Tesla's always been good at that, and that's a little bit more boring. But let's go through its paces. We're going to a Costco parking lot, a mall parking lot, 2 different grocery stores, and I think we'll end at a Tesla Supercharger. So let's put it through its paces, see how it does. So we are just in a random parking lot right now. We're going to go over to Costco, which is over there. So that should be an interesting parking lot endeavor, see how it parks. We'll then be going to South Park Mall here in Charlotte, which is pretty chaotic. We'll see where it parks. Harris Teeter grocery store, which should be fairly busy. Then we'll go to another grocery store, which has an underground parking garage, and I'm going to have it, or see if it will park down there. We'll then go to a Walmart and a pretty busy shopping complex, and then we will end at a Supercharger to see if it will park itself so that we can charge without issues. So without further ado, I will start recording here, and then we will get going. And this is going to be an uninterrupted recording. I'm not going to stop it or anything like that. I will fast forward some of the boring parts if needed. I suspect some of the surface streets will be a little bit boring, so I'll fast forward those, but I will leave the continuous recording in there. That way, any mistakes it does or anything like that, you will see it just like I will. I have nothing to hide. I have no Tesla stock or anything like that. So if it does great, fantastic. If it does terribly, well, that's reality. And I just want to show you guys reality, see how it does. I'll give some commentary where necessary, but I'm kind of an FSD, not skeptic. I'm more of a realist on it. I was a skeptic before, but with FSD 13, I find myself using it basically every drive and find it to be actually really useful and actually a reason that I like Teslas, actually, as crazy as that sounds. But without further ado, I'm going to hit record. I'm also going to reset my trip A here. Sorry for blocking the camera. That way we can see the efficiency that FSD driving does. This is a long-range rear-wheel drive, so this is very efficient, usually around 200 watt-hour per mile. All right, so here we go. We are now recording. Comment down below what you guys think of this angle and such, and whether you think it works well or if I should change it or anything. We've just got a RAM mount on my iPhone 16 Pro Max coming down from the roof. We're going to use start self-driving, and I'll also show you guys the settings here. So we have it on full self-driving, of course. Brake confirm is off, and speed profile is on hurry. I will put it on the expanded visualizations here. I shall put it on satellite view there so you can see as well. And then we'll do start self-driving, just a quick tap, not even a hold anymore. And let's see where it goes to Costco, which is right next door actually, but we're gonna go past the gas station. There was a big dip there for a drain. We're also doing this at rush hour, which is a bit chaotic. We have limited visibility to the left with a bush. We have another refresh Model Y right there. I probably would have gone by now, but again, as I've mentioned before, just because the car is not driving how I would drive doesn't mean that it's bad or unsafe. The main criteria for whether FSD is good is whether it's safe and does reasonable actions. And then here for parking lot, we have at destination park and then parking lot. So let's see where it parks. I think it's just going to take the closest parking spot it can find, which, or maybe not. I guess it's going to turn left here instead and try to go for a closer parking spot. The front of Costco is to our left here. And as typical in most places with parking lots, people don't exactly follow the traffic rules here. So let's see where it takes us. I normally would like to park there. There was a lot of parking spots there. And we've got handicap spots here in front of us. Hopefully it does not park there. Something that would be useful in the future is a way to tell it to use parking or to use handicap spots, because if you have a handicap placard, that could be useful. We have a parking spot here to our left, and looks like it's taking it. So that's actually a great parking spot. Closer than I would normally park even. So we'll let it park. And there we go. That was a success. We'll do start self-driving again. We are now heading to the Apple Store at South Park Mall. And I did specifically the Apple Store because that way it's not just navigating to the mall as a whole. It should actually bring us to the closest area nearest to the Apple Store. So now we're exiting the Costco parking lot. Costco's actually not that busy today. I would have turned right there because it is easier to get out of the parking lot there, but again, it can do its thing. There's also another exit here to our right and then to our left. I would go straight here and then turn right when we get to, okay. Again, it works. Maybe not the most efficient way out of the parking lot, but it works. And I did just have the front camera cleaned by Tesla about a week and a half ago, somewhat in preparation for FSD 14 to make sure that it would be the most representative experience. I would have gone by now. We are on the hurry profile right now. So here we're going to do park and parking lot rather than parking garage. Actually, I'm going to try charger here because at this mall there's both Electrify America and a old EVgo installed. In the Electrify America is in the parking garage. The EVgo is on the surface lot, and the surface lot is actually where I would like to park. It's being pretty courteous, leaving a space here to not block this driveway. Realistically, this is more courteous than I would probably be, but this guy's waving at me as a thank you, which is nice, I guess. It appears we do have some school buses out. There's one up here on the left in oncoming traffic. I believe even on this type of road, you're supposed to stop for the school bus in opposite traffic. Someone correct me if you know. I believe you are, because they could cross. It's somewhat divided, but not fully. I guess there is a median here, so I think that would qualify as not needing to stop for the school bus in oncoming traffic. And this is my first real drive with FSD 14. I drove to work this morning with it. But that was only about 5 miles or so. And it did pretty well. It managed to go out of my house driveway, which FSD 13 would not do because of how steep it is. It's not that steep, but as the car would get to the end of the driveway and have to transition from the slanted driveway onto the flat pavement, it would be somewhat nose down and then think that it was going to hit something because it was facing the ground essentially. And my car does not have a front-facing camera as a legacy Model Y. But this morning it did it just fine. Interesting. It lost track of my eyes as I was looking at my watch there while we were stopped, but then quickly engaged hands-free mode again. We are encountering some traffic here. Interestingly, it's not showing the cones that are on the ground here. It is showing like a block as if it can't drive through it, but it's interesting that it's not showing cones per se. We are approaching the mall now, so let's see how it handles this and where it parks with Charger set as the destination. So again, at destination park and parking lot Charger, or sorry, and not parking lot or parking garage, we have it set to Charger. So let's see where we end up. Some honking going on there. This can be a little tricky of limited visibility. It's like, I wouldn't go quite yet. There should be a gap after this next car coming. There we go. So let's see how it handles this, because we're now going into the parking garage, even though I said parking lot. But let's see if it can find the Chargers. I believe the charging is actually in this garage up here. I can never keep track of the different parking garages at this mall. There's parking garages all the way around, and some of them connect and some of them don't. So I guess we're turning right here. There's not charging this way. Okay, I guess we're not turning right there. All right. Okay, what are we stopping for? That was interesting. It was braking there. I wonder if it was seeing those posts and thinking it was charging. This is a one-way. It's going the correct direction, so that's good. Now, where are we going? Okay, I guess this is the way you can go. I've never gone this way before. There's a loading dock there behind us. I also did not know there was a bus stop down here. Okay, it said no through traffic. Do not enter there where it was trying to turn, and it followed that. Did not go. It's stopping because these people do not have a stop sign. We have a no left turn up here. It's a one-way to the right. Okay. Can turn left here. We're at another one-way. We're back basically where we started. So we did a loop here. That's where we were just a moment ago, but you could not... I guess you could turn left here, actually, go this way. Okay, that was a brake stab there. I'm not sure why. We're turning right. We're kind of just driving a maze at this point, but I'm very curious where we'll end up. That's not a parking spot. Okay. That's definitely a handicap hashing. And I think we're parking here. That was a fail. Let me try something though here, and let me put in, I'm gonna add a stop. Let's put in Electrify America, because that is in this parking garage. Not this parking garage, but here. So let's just see how it handles that. It does not need to go all the way out. Okay, let's just see what happens here. But this was a fail. That is not a parking spot. In fact, you would probably get ticketed, because that's a hash mark for the handicap spot, and you cannot park there. So I would consider that to be a total parking fail, and that's not a charger. And then this will be, interestingly, it doesn't give me a charger option for the charger destination. So that's a bit odd. I guess it's just parking here. That's not Electrify America. Why are we parking? I don't understand, but okay, let's try this again. What the heck is this? Why did it park there? I'm very confused. If someone has an explanation for why it would have parked there, I'm very intrigued. Because I've set a new destination now. So it should not have parked there. We've got some one-ways going on here. I will say that these parking garages are confusing even as a human, let alone as a car. So I can't really give FSD too much of a hard time down here, because these are terrible parking garages. So it's going off of the nav course slightly. I wonder if it's going to be smart enough to be able to go out of this parking garage a different way. Also, why are we parking again? Maybe? Oh, it's okay. So it's turning around, maybe? Or reparking. Okay. That's not Electrify America. Okay, why did it park? I wonder if because it's the same address here, if that's why it did that. That would be an interesting test, because it's the whole property. I'm already on the property technically, and I think the address might be the same. It might just be suite numbers or similar. Okay. Is it just going to park here now? I guess, maybe. We're getting lots of parking tests in, I guess. It is doing pretty well at parking, maybe a little too well at parking. And now we lost all our navigation destinations? What the heck? This is a weird interchange thing. Let's see. Okay, so it is going out of the parking garage now, so that's promising. So now we'll at least have GPS to maybe guide it a little bit better. Frankly, I don't actually know how to get to the Electrify America from here. That's not Electrify America either. This is CVS or Walgreens, I guess. Okay, I think it is in this parking garage, but downstairs, maybe? I think. Okay, so I guess we're turning around. So this should be Charger, but it's not. So there's the Electrify America stations. Let's see if it can make it in there. This mall has all sorts of weird stuff going on. I think you can turn right up here somewhere to get in the garage. Okay, so it's disobeying nav because it realizes you can get in here. Okay, that works too. I would have gone that way, but this works. Man, that's a beautiful ID Buzz there. You'll see in a second. And now the real question, will it back in to use them? It doesn't seem to be taking charge port location into account because otherwise it would have done a little bit better job here. But anyway, let me just make sure we're still recording. And we are. And so now we're going to put it on Mad Max mode for this drive to Harris Teeter. And we'll actually try the curbside option just to see how it handles that out of curiosity. I think this will be mostly sped up unless it does some weird things on Mad Max, but I think it should be fine. Okay. That was an interesting interchange for both of us. So there we got some of the brake chatter that a lot of the YouTubers have been talking about, the people that had it early. It just like would clamp the brakes like very momentarily as it was going. It was like a hesitation. That's not a lane car. Not a lane. Oh, but I guess we are turning left here. Okay, never mind. Car knows better than I do, apparently. We're about to arrive to Harris Teeter. We are 3 lanes over from where we need to be right now because the destination is on the right. So it is moving over relatively early ahead of the destination, which is good. And then again, we have it set to do a curbside drop off here. So let's see how well it does that. Because it needs to be able to do this well in order to be able to do banish at some point, because it would then drop you off and then go park itself somewhere. I would have gone straight there and then taken a left to do a curbside drop off, but okay. Especially since there's not traffic there, but okay. It's interesting that it doesn't really render the parking spots here. I would think that it would be able to give the parking pop-ups, if you will, to then allow you to select a parking spot if you wanted to, rather than having it decide when it does that. I'm curious if it will put on the hazards or anything when it does the drop off. I'm also curious if it will go to the door or anything, or which door it will go to. All right, so it's doing a no parking here. It looks like it will put it in park. No hazards, we are in park. So good curbside drop off there. And now let's continue to Publix, which I'll leave it on Mad Max, and I'll do parking garage now. So we'll see if it can navigate to the parking garage. This is a brand new Publix location. So the parking garage is new. It didn't exist before, and it's an underground, under the store parking garage. So it'll be interesting to see if it can handle that. And I'll probably end up fast forwarding through here. Overall, Mad Max didn't really do anything abnormal or anything different than I would have expected on Hurry. It did a right side pass to go around a car, but I mean, Hurry does that as well. So far, we're averaging 238.2 watt hour per mile. Well, we're now approaching the Publix. You can see here on the map, it still thinks that it's a dirt lot being built, at least on satellite view. And then here it does show somewhat of the route, I guess. That is actually the correct route to go in the underground parking garage, as far as I can tell. So we'll see if it follows that. We've got a Mach-E there. We had a Rivian up there. You can see the massive variety and quantity of EVs here in Charlotte. We also have quite long lights here, it seems. As far as the lane keeping goes, it does seem to be a little bit smoother and a little bit less oscillation side to side. Something that I noticed with previous versions of FSD is that it would very slightly bob back and forth. Like, not so much that it's super noticeable and you couldn't even see it really in the wheel, but it would just be a very slight, like, not even oscillation, but just very slight, minute adjustments. Whereas this seems to be better at just kind of going straight and staying smooth within the lane. So we should be turning right here, which it is. And then we should actually go past the main Publix and then turn right. So here's Publix right here. We should be going, I don't know why it was why it's signaling left. That's definitely not correct. Where the heck is it going? Okay. I have no idea where it's going right now. That is not the correct direction at all. Where the heck are we going? This is not a parking garage. What the heck? Okay. That's not Publix. Where is it going? Let's try this again. Let's see where it goes this time, because that is not correct. I don't 100% fault FSD for this. I think this is more a result of bad nav. That's a one-way, so we have to go this way, I guess. This is a weird parking lot. I think I could have gone left there to turn out, but this is probably the more proper way. And let's try, so I have it set now to parking lot rather than parking garage. Let's see if that helps it at all. We should be going left here and then taking immediate right. Though it does look like there's some road work or something going on up here, but that seems to be off to the side and doesn't seem to be impacting through traffic. We should have been turning there. I don't know where it's going right now. That is a work zone. That is not correct. We are intervening there. It cannot go there. What the heck is going on? That is not good nav data, but an interesting data point. I can barely see with the sun there. But this is why we test things like this, because that is not correct. And oddly, I have had it take me to Publix before, and it generally works fine. Let's just try curbside, see if it can handle that. Okay. And now it wants to do a U-turn up here instead. Let's see if it follows nav. So it wants to do a U-turn there, or if it just goes straight and turns right, which it can do. This is definitely the hard way to get to Publix. But, okay. So let's see where it goes for this curbside drop-off. If it actually goes to the front of the store that it doesn't seem to know exists. It should be turning left there, or it can turn left up here as well. There are two entrances to this Publix. Okay, so it should turn left here. And then let's just switch this to park and parking. Let's do parking garage now that we're here and see if it will navigate to the parking garage or if it will park in the parking lot. I think it's just parking here, which is actually a great parking spot, but that's not a parking garage. It also definitely could have pulled farther forward and then just backed in rather than having to do this multi-point parking maneuver. Pretty good parking job though. Though it definitely could have done it in one shot if it had pulled a little bit farther forward. Let's go over to Walmart now. That was not the greatest showing here at Publix. It did not do that really at all correct. And then let's just put it in a hurry to see if that changes anything, and we'll go to parking lot for parking here because it's a parking lot at a Walmart. This is not the easiest way out of here. You have to turn right out of this. This is not the way I would go because you cannot do that left turn. This is a right turn only, which is fairly new. We'll see if it figures this out. You cannot turn left here, which it wanted to do. It's realizing that, I think. Let's see where it goes now. Okay, it's going a very roundabout way to get to Walmart, which I guess works. Not probably the way I would go, but again, if it gets you there, it works. Interesting, it lost track of my eyes there as I glanced at my watch. This seems totally fine. make that a little bit more visible. Lost track of my eyes again. I am wearing sunglasses. Not sure if you guys can see that or not. It seems to have lost my eyes, but there we go again. Hands-free mode on. So we basically just did a big circle. We also have the battery preconditioning for supercharging because we're at 90% state of charge. And in order to supercharge, it has to heat up the battery quite a bit, even though I just finished DC charging when I started this. Don't think I've ever gone on this route before. This should be a pretty interesting left turn. This road is busy and it is rush hour-ish. I don't think there's a light, but I could be wrong. There's no light here for the left turn. And this is a busy road, so this should be interesting. Pretty good job there pulling out. I don't know why it's signaling to the right. I guess just to indicate that it's still getting over. We also have a car here up on the left side in the left turn lane, kind of, with its hazards on. So that's interesting as well. I guess their car died. Strange spot. Stop or die. And now we're arriving to Walmart. We're pulling into the complex. You can see Walmart straight ahead. Let's see how it does here with parking. So we're doing parking lot. I would have gone straight instead of turning left here, but again, I guess this works. And let's see how it handles these fishbone one-way kind of parking situations. Okay, reasonable. It basically just took the first spot it saw, or at least the closest first spot it saw. And now we'll do our last test here of going to a supercharger. So we'll navigate. That was actually pretty aggressive that it was moving before they even were clear. And then we'll see, so it is set to hurry, and we have charger as our parking type. So let's see if it actually will park us at a supercharger. And then this is a version 2 supercharger, and it's 12 stalls and looks like there are only 5 available. So let's see if it's smart enough to know to pull into a non-paired stall. That will be the interesting test. Because there are 7 of 12 stalls in use right now. And this is a 150 kilowatt version 2 supercharger. We're again doing a left turn on a busy road. On the same road that we were on before, but from the other direction. This road can be a little challenging. So this is the right turn, then we'll have the left turn on to the busy road. I guess it's not that busy at the moment, so that's surprising. I would be creeping up personally if I was driving, but I would also potentially get into the middle turn lane after this car from the left And before these groups of cars, I would go. Let's see if it goes. Nope. It kind of missed its opportunity there, and it's in hurry mode. I'm surprised we haven't gotten a wave of cars from the left, but we'll also have an opportunity after this Prius coming from the right. There we go. Safe. It would have been sitting there for a while, though, if traffic had been heavier. That is quite the truck there. Wow. And we're now just about to arrive to the Supercharger. And there are now 7 of 12 stalls available on arrival. So this should be pretty interesting to see how it does, because over half of the stalls are available, and in theory it should know to pull into a non-shared stall, and it should know all the stalls and everything, in theory. It doesn't surface that for the driver, but in theory the car would know that, and then FSD would therefore know that, but I don't really know if it does. Okay, unfortunately we have a red turn light here. Maybe that will go flashing yellow and we'll be able to go. I would prefer to not have to wait through another light cycle here. I would maybe allegedly had gone there if it had turned red and I was driving, versus waiting for another entire light cycle as the last car. But again, FSD has a little bit higher standard of safety it has to meet, and as far as road rules go. I don't think we're getting a flashing yellow here. I think we're just going to wait for the entire light cycle, unfortunately. And we're now up to 8 of 12 available. And I think we're still preconditioning. I can hear the heat pump running. Yeah, we're still preconditioning. And I'll do that just so that way we can see what's going on. And we'll also be able to see the new visualization for charging. Just switched over to night mode here as it's getting to sunset. Looks like sunset is in 4 minutes, so I guess it's just doing it based on the light sensor. There we go. And let's see how it does here at the Supercharger. It's fairly empty. Oh wow, Earth Fair went out of business. Huh. I guess I haven't been over here in a bit. I can't say I'm entirely surprised though. It was never busy. This seems like an opportunity that they could visualize the Superchargers. And we're about to be sharing power, unfortunately. There were open stalls over there. So let's see if we can just engage FSD again. Let's do this again and see if trying again, we'll try it again. Okay. It's just driving now. Alright, let's try that again. See where it goes, see if it will go to one of these stalls that you would not be sharing power on. Okay, it wants to go to that same stall again, which I do not want to go to. So let me just pull over here quick and then we will wrap this video up. Well, there we have it. FSD 14.1.3, my first impressions of it and kind of first experiences with it. I'll be using this, of course, over the coming weeks. And I suspect Tesla will be releasing some updates over the coming weeks as well. Would love to hear what you guys think. If you haven't already, comment down below. And if you would, hit the like button, subscribe button. I'll see you guys on the next one.